Protecting small business. The Senate is debating whether or not to pass legislation that would essentially provide liability protection to businesses for injuries related to COVID-19. It's called the Safe Work Act. Here to share his perspective is Charleston trial attorney David Hoffman, Esquire. It is so good to see you. Thank you for joining us.
Well, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it.
Okay, so people's nerves, they're frayed right now. A year of COVID-19, forcing businesses to close, only to open with significant changes that have either drastically reduced their income or shuttered them completely. It's making them search for a shield of protection. This proposed bill would assumably provide that protection from litigious folks out there who may claim that they caught COVID at that business. Is this legislation, in your view, a good idea?
Well, I think we have to start with what exactly the legislation proposes to do. Based on what is being discussed in the Senate right now, it protects businesses that follow the public health guidelines. So, it's only a safe harbor, meaning this is not some expansive legislation that's going to last for the next decade or longer in perpetuity. It's as long as the state of emergency is in effect. So what it's protecting is businesses that follow the rules. So in reality, litigation, though, is far more complex than that. These are very difficult cases to prove to begin with. You've got to prove medical causation. People can get COVID-19 from anywhere, not just a business. They can get it from,
right.
I don't remember the last time I got sick, but I certainly don't remember where I got it. You could be at Dick's Sporting Goods, you could be at Walmart, you could be at 10 places in one day, and then all of a sudden you come up with COVID-19. It's extremely hard to prove with any sort of preponderance of the evidence that location is where you got COVID-19. So number one, even without this protection from the legislature, these cases are extremely difficult to prove. So I'm not really 100% sure what the legislation is going to do other than just make people feel better.
Right. So what do you say to those business owners who are really worried, though, that people are going to all of a sudden wake up one day, become uber litigious, and then just start suing everybody because they think they caught COVID? We also talked before this about how very expensive it is to sue someone.
Right.
So
right.
Is that threat real? Is that threat justified, or that feeling justified?
It is not. You've always heard, frivolous lawsuits. Well, I would submit, Leyla, the term frivolous lawsuit is from people who really don't understand what a lawsuit is. Lawsuits are hard. They're difficult. You would have to have medical causation that linking your client to a certain establishment. It would take hundreds and hundreds of dollars in filing fees, and then you've got expert fees, and you've got video depositions, and you've got potentially tens of thousands of dollars in costs for the law firm. And here's the thing. Most people, fortunately, with COVID-19, they get better. There's a very small percentage of people who become long-term sick or even worse, death. The best protection, you've got to have damages to support the amount of cost it would take to try to prove something, such a moving target as where did somebody contract COVID, and then you've got to prove that employer, even without this bill from the Senate, you still have to prove that employer did something wrong or acted negligently. So with or without this bill, it's still the exact same level of difficulty. And my question would be, would you want to expand that? Because we do have things like nursing homes, and we also want our businesses to at least be safe when they're dealing with the public. So the answer, in my mind, is not a broader sweeping piece of legislation, because then you're starting to infringe on your constitutional right. The Seventh Amendment gives you a constitutional right to a jury trial. So you're starting to infringe on that. And I don't think more is necessarily the answer. I'm basically just kind of reassuring you that the idea that all of a sudden there's going to be a flood of lawsuits, it's not going to happen. They're too expensive. They're too hard to prove, and the damage is never supported.
That's very interesting, David. This is a good place to take a break. When we come back, I want to ask about how businesses should feel and what they can do to feel more comfortable the next time they open their doors. So we're going to do that after the break. Don't go anywhere. Welcome back. We've been chatting with attorney David Hoffman about legislation that's being proposed right now on the Senate floor about whether or not to enact a bill that would essentially give protections to small businesses, to any business, against COVID-related claims. For businesses who are nervous, just in this world that we're living in, what can they do the next time they hang their shingle out to know that they feel confident that they're running a well-protected business?
It's really just a common sense thing. And you're right. It's not that this legislation is bad. It's not that it's good. It's just kind of there. There's just really, these things are so difficult to prove anyway. I'm not sure that any of this is even necessary. But my advice to business owners would be, let's not worry about whether the legislation passes or not. The issue is just wipe down your counters, spray off your phone every once in a while, wash your hands. It's just the common sense stuff, because even without this legislation, people who do, a modest amount of cleaning and sanitizing, no jury is going to hold those people responsible on a case that's extremely difficult to prove anyway. At least that's my opinion.
And I know that several businesses downtown, they were recently cited by the city of Charleston for allegedly not wearing masks. Their employees were allegedly not doing certain things. So people are keeping tabs on businesses, but really all we can do is just protect ourselves, make sure we do the hand sanitizer is what I'm hearing, and making sure that
and wear your mask.
All the things that you're doing.
And then you have no issue. If you're a business and you're not requiring your people to wear masks and you're in the public, well, that's gonna skirt around this legislation even if it passes.
Sure.
So just wear your mask, mop, spray stuff down.
That's all we can do. Got to keep living, right?
That's right.
All right, David. Well, thank you so much. It's been a pleasure chatting with you. Learned so much today. We're back in 2 minutes.